welcome to the Ask Arlene show, the show where you get to ask your questions and hopefully you get them answered in the right way. So I am your host, Arlene. I am a life coach and business consultant. I specialize in the area of momentum and peak performance. So have you ever wanted to start a business, but you just haven't seemed to get started? Or you have a business already, but you want to 10x that business, take it to the next level, but you just don't seem to do it. Or maybe it's not business at all. What you'd like to do is write that book. You know in your heart what you always want to have written about, but you just don't seem to write it. Well, you are in the right place today. Perhaps it's the 10 extra pounds that you want to lose. Well, we're today joined by an excellent coach and strategist by the name of Annie Fitzgerald. She is the founder and partner in a major coaching business. And we're so excited to have her join us today. And we're going to ask her to introduce herself. And then we're going to talk a little bit about how we can overcome our fears, get unstuck, and move forward in our lives as well. Hello, Annie, and welcome to the show.
Hi, Arlene. Thanks so much for having me. It's lovely to be on your show.
Oh, it's a pleasure to have you because you are so full of knowledge and insight. And like I always say, I only have people on the show who not only talk the talk, but walk the walk. You have shown me your light and your sincerity and your heart of gold. And so I'm so excited to share with you, with our listeners, and share you with them. So tell them a little bit about yourself.
Sure. So I live in Seattle. I live with my husband and my son. I have a daughter who's in college. She is currently away at college. And I live with a small posse of animals.
A small posse of animals. Okay.
One of whom is at my feet right now, who I'm hoping will just behave himself.
Dog.
A dog.
Okay. We have some dog whisperers that join our show, so they'd certainly be interested.
I would like to talk to them. So I'm, like you said, I'm a coach. I became a coach about 15 years ago after some pretty big trauma in my life. And I was really trying to figure out how I could support my family and how I could get unstuck. That was really the biggest thing, is I was so stuck. And it was really through being that stuck that I was working with a therapist, and the therapist said to me, "You would be a great coach and you need a lot of coaching." I had no idea what a coach was. I found a training program that I thought was right for me.
Yes.
I had no idea even what a coach did, like none at all. But they promised me they could get me unstuck. And so I was in, and I was all in. And since that day, I have been pursuing excellence in coaching and really trying to understand myself, which is a heck of a long journey, and understand others in order to support them as much as I can.
Excellent. We've all come to this coaching thing from different angles. Many of the listeners already know my story. I was a corporate person. I worked for large companies like AIG. I worked in politics for the campaign of President Obama. I worked for the DNC, Democratic National Committee, for some of you that may not know what that is. And I was ripping and running. And then I was a chamber of commerce president of several chambers of commerce. And one of the chambers that recruited me out of 300 people hired me to go clear across the country. And I did. And shortly thereafter, the board changed and they wanted a new CEO and director. And so they fired me. And there was my picture on the front page of the newspaper, and it said fired. And I just couldn't get out of bed. I was really stuck. I had a function that morning at the Kiwanis Club. I was supposed to speak. And I just couldn't go because I was really stuck and didn't know what to do. And shortly thereafter, while being stuck, my mom contracted an illness, a fatal illness, and then passed away. And I was there with her, every step of the way as she was going down and finally going out. So I was really stuck and I didn't know what to do. And I
Yeah.
started going to conferences and getting tapes and books and anything that I could get my hands on. And I met your business partner at a conference, and she was amazing.
Yeah.
She was amazing. And that's how I was able to meet you, because she was able to give me tools and tips and techniques to really help me get up and get out of the rut that I was in and get unstuck. So I'm really
Yes.
curious, because I've never really heard your story as to what it was that you went through. So we'd be open to hearing if you'd want to share with us.
Oh, I'm so happy to. Yeah. So I think that, actually my story starts really a long time ago and not really understanding how I wanted to really be in the world. I've struggled with depression and anxiety my whole life.
Wow.
Um, and really started to self-medicate when I was quite young, like maybe 13. So really got involved in drugs and alcohol at a really young age. And and then I worked I went to college, I managed to get through that. I worked in the nonprofit field. I really knew that working for justice and working to support people was really what I wanted to do. And it was incredibly hard work,
Yes.
incredibly hard. It was a 24-hour a day job. You got paid very
Ouch.
little. Yeah. And I was raised by social workers. I'm the last of 10 children
Wow.
raised by 2 social workers.
I can relate. I've done that kind of work too. Grueling.
Yeah. And, the thing about that is people will say, oh, it's such a hard job. And I said, the reason it's hard is because the answers are actually very simple, but they're not available. you know, the answers are give people health care, give people shelter, give people some education, give people
That's
some job, that's it.
reason
It's,
to keep going.
it's not that hard. Obviously there's complicated things inside of all of that, but so that was the hard part. It was like, I know what needs to happen and I can't make it happen. Um, that's what I felt anyway. But I got married and I had my daughter when in the year 2000. And she was born with a mental illness that,
Wow.
yeah, that really knocked my socks off.
Wow. I can imagine.
Yeah, she cried for really years. Um, and I had my son a couple years later. And and then when my kids were 3 and 1, my husband was diagnosed with a terminal illness. So I had a child with very, very high needs. I really hadn't slept through the night in years. I wouldn't sleep through the night for 7 years.
Wow.
Um, yeah. The illness was, it was a rare cancer called pseudomyxoma peritoni for people who want to know. And he was told it was terminal, but we did find an experimental treatment. So we decided to opt for the experimental treatment, which was very scary. He had a 20-hour surgery. He was in the hospital for
20 hours. Okay.
20 hours. Yeah, he
So
was
in the
in.
meantime, you were on pins and needles the whole
Yeah,
time.
I was just sitting in the hospital for 20 hours. Yeah.
Mhm.
And you sit in this surgical room and you watch all the people come and go whose people are out of surgery. Um, he would be in the ICU for about a week after that, and then in the hospital for about a month, and then kind of in and out for the next couple months.
So how did you cope? How did you work through it?
I did not do
I
that
mean, you're
very
not even
well.
finished the story yet, and already, I feel anxious. I feel
Well,
like I'm having difficulty coping, and
well,
you're not even through the
yeah.
story.
Well, I had incredible anxiety.
Yes.
The thing that the surgeon told me was that if they weren't able to get all of the cancer out, they wouldn't bother doing the final treatment, which was this kind of it was a hot chemotherapy wash that they flooded through his whole
System.
abdominal cavity. And so when the surgeon came out, he said, we've done this. We weren't able to get all the cancer out, but we chose to do it
Okay.
anyway. So um, for, so I felt like I was living in limbo. Like I didn't know if it worked. I knew the cancer was there. I knew it wasn't growing, but maybe it was going to grow. So it just felt like I was saying to a friend not long ago, like in some ways I just wanted an answer. Was it going to come back or not? One way or the other. I just need to know so I can plan. But I didn't get to know for 6 years. It did come back 6 years later, but and that was right after I had cancer. Um, so, but I'll back up from that a little bit in that it was really about a year and a half after that, and I had started working with a therapist because I was very depressed and very anxious and very stuck.
Understandably so.
And I had this two little kids, one of whom, it was really, there was really no way to get help because she was so young and there was no way to really understand what was happening for her. We understand now in hindsight, but at the time, you can't really diagnose a 3-year-old with
She
any.
can't speak. She can't tell you what's going on, what she's
Not,
experiencing, what she's feeling.
not really, not entirely, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's when my therapist said, you should try this coach training program. So I did. I got involved in that and it blew my mind. It blew my mind. And I think it saved my life probably 18 different times.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
So every time that I have spoken with you, Annie, and I've shared something that I am having a challenge with and
mhm.
need help with, you've always been able to say something to me that helps me to feel like, yes, I can do this. I can move forward. I can handle it. Without knowing your story, I can see why you coach with such compassion.
Oh, thank
So
you.
we have a lot of people who have challenges because we all have challenges. What if you can remember of all of these different things on the journey, what really helped you the most to be able to not focus on the challenges and to be able to say, even though I'm going through, I'm going to be able to accomplish it and I'm going to get out of this and I'm going to move forward and do better? Like, what was it that, I know it's a multiplicity of things, but if there's any one or two things that you can think of and share with us, what would they be?
Sure. And so I notice I have a little bit of hesitancy in that only because I think the thing that helped me the most is it, is not entirely fair for everyone on the planet to be able to to do. So I'm always a little bit hesitant, but essentially the thing that really broke me out was when someone said, "You are the one who is making this so hard." I was the one who was making it hard. And like I was the one who was creating the pain for myself. I was the one who was um, looking at all of the things that were going wrong instead of looking at all of the things that are going right. That was a massive turning point, and I could
So I've
really.
heard that too,
Mhm.
that it said you're the one that's creating the situation. Maybe you could explain that a little bit more so that people who have not gone through the trainings that you have could really understand that insight. Because if somebody has had a trauma, they're listening to you and they're saying, but I didn't bring it on myself.
Well, and I didn't bring on my husband's cancer. I didn't bring on my cancer. I didn't. And they're right. They didn't. There are tons of circumstances and tons of events that we do not bring on. But what we do have is an ability to relate to them in a certain way. So the simplest way of thinking about it is, so I live in Seattle where it rains a lot. And every day that it's pouring rain, which is many days of the year, you could wake up and say, it's raining, so I'm in a bad mood. Like, it's raining today. Yuck, I feel horrible. Or you could just say, it's raining today and let the rain not let the rain decide how you feel about the day. So rain is something I cannot control. It's a circumstance beyond my power, but my power lies in how I relate to it. So if it's raining, I can still have a good day. I can still be in a good mood. I can still go outside and play if I want, instead of letting the rain dictate how I feel about life.
I think that's key. I mean,
Hmm.
that's the whole soup and nuts, right?
Yeah.
How we look at the different situations so that we can continue on and move forward or give up. So when I was going through the situation of the death of my mom, I shared on the show multiplicity of times that I was going to a counselor and I had to clear out all of her things. And it was very hard for me to clear out her things. And so every time I would go to the counselor, Annie, she would say to me, well, did you clear out the things? And I would say, well, no, I haven't cleared out her things. I knew I was supposed to clear out the things.
Yes.
I really didn't need to pay $150 for her to share with me to clear out the things. But I needed strategies. I needed a different mindset, a different thought process to be able to do it. And it was when I sat with your partner, your business partner, right, and was talking about how, and what you do, which is so strategic, and what you're saying now, Annie, is the how. How you think about things so that you can become empowered and get up and move forward. And so she and others then shared with me, okay, do it a step at a time. So instead of taking the clothes and clearing them out of the room and putting them out, I took them out and I put them in the basement. Then I moved them from the basement to the garage. And then finally from the garage to, the Goodwill or the, some other facility. And I had help to take them. So it's really, really about strategies, about knowing how to do it.
Strategies. It's all inside of strategies, but we're all using strategies all of the time, and we use them without awareness. So to apply awareness to our strategies and to actually think about our strategies and implement ones that work for us is really key.
Okay, so we're going to take a little break. And when we come back, we're going to have Annie Fitzgerald sharing with us some of those strategies that we can use in order to move forward, get unstuck, and be more empowered so that we can win in life and be able to function and be the best versions of ourselves, just like she's doing with us today. Thank you.
There was a time in my life where I was extremely homesick. I decided that I needed a pet. When I first saw a turtle, my heart was full. He jumped up and kissed me and jumped right into my arms. I immediately went up to the volunteers at the shelter and said, I want him. He's got to come home with me. Now I'm anything but lonely. Every day with Turtle is a perfect day and keeps me company when I'm doing schoolwork. I like it when he jumps up on the table too. He is a veggie thief. He's an incredible companion and my best friend. Can't say that I've met anybody that doesn't love him too. When I adopted Turtle, I discovered all the things that make him unique. He's a little bit of a lot of things, but mostly he's all pure love.
Did you know dragging chains can spark a wildfire?
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Hi, I'm Arlene, host of the television talk show Ask Arlene, which airs on Thursdays at 6:30. And as a business consultant and life coach, I help you to move forward in your business, project, or endeavor. So if you always wanted to write a book, but you just haven't seemed to get started, or you always wanted to 10x that business that you already have, expand it to the next level, you know exactly what you need to do, but you just haven't done it? Well, I've already purchased all the courses, read all the books, the Tony Robbins, all sorts. I have several degrees, including a master's degree and credits toward a doctorate. I've sat with and met celebrities and done the networking. And what I've realized is what I really needed was a mastermind group of people working toward my project, my business, or my endeavor. So what I've done is met with coaches and met with experts and put them together to work on your project. So join us today for our Mastermind networking group. I'll see you there. Click the link below and join us.
1 minute to find out if you may have prediabetes. You can do it here. But you probably won't. You're busy. Kids, work, show coming back in 48 seconds. So let's do this now. Hold up one finger if you're a man, women, 0. 3 more fingers if you're over 60, 2 over 50, 1 over 40. If you're not sure, keep in mind you're sitting on a couch right now, so 1 more finger if you're not very active. 1 finger if yes, 0 if no. 1 yes, 0 no. Next, find the body type that looks most like you and hold up that many fingers while I look around awkwardly. And that's it. If you're holding up 5 fingers or more, you probably have prediabetes. Sorry to be so blunt, but hey, you're busy. Just go to the site.
And welcome back to the Ask Arlene show. Once again, we're joined today by Annie Fitzgerald of A. Fitzgerald Coaching. She is a life coach, and she's helping us today to get tools and techniques on how we can win, move forward, get unstuck in our lives. And so, Annie, thank you for sharing your story with us. And it was quite heartfelt. And if I had been in that situation, I don't know what I would have done. I don't know how I would have functioned. And so we're just grateful for this whole concept of coaching and coaches. And we have this group, and it's called the Ask Arlene Show Mastermind group, where we ask people to join, and they're able to get insight, tools, and techniques on how they can move forward and gain the things that they want in their lives.
Fantastic.
And they can reach us at bit.ly/capital A for ask and capital A for Arlene. So that's bit.ly/ask Arlene. So tell us some more of what we can do if we're challenged. I mean, right now, you know, we have the corona situation and people are very challenged, and we want to move forward. We want to do the things that we're called to do, but sometimes it's just hard to know how to move. What are some things we can do?
Well, it is hard to move. I think I think recognizing that things are really, really challenging, and letting that be okay is really important. Oftentimes we don't allow ourselves to feel grief or to even say, like, this is really hard. I encourage people to ask for support. I think that's something that our society really has taught us not to do, right? We're supposed to be able to pull our own selves up. We're supposed to be able to support ourselves. We're supposed to be able to, like, get it done on our own. And I really think asking for support, which takes some vulnerability, is really, really important, particularly right now. And understand that pretty much everybody I know is struggling. And also everyone has struggled, you know, like if people look like they're having a great life, maybe they are, but it doesn't mean they always have, right? Usually people can relate a little bit. The other thing I would say is to do really what I did, which is start to look for what's working and pay attention, make your mind focus on what is working. I like to say what you focus on grows, and that I have found to be very true. So if you look for things in your life that are causing you trouble, you will find more and more and more of them. If you look for ways that your relationships are breaking, you will see more and more and more of them. But start to look for how your relationships are working. Start to look for ways that you can feel good about yourself. Start to look for ways that your job is serving you, right? Or things that you like about your job, or ways your job is serving your life. So really focusing on what is working. And I am not, I think, like, it's in many ways I call myself like a cynical coach, because I have some cynicism in me. And I am not a person who wants to say that, we should sweep things under the rug. That is not me. But I do think we have to look for ways that are working, or things that are working for us. The other thing that is, I think another thing that really shifted life for me was understanding that I was interpreting everything. Anything that was happening to me, I was making up. So the simplest way of looking at this is, imagine someone is walking down the street, they pass you and they frown at you. I automatically think,
They don't
well,
like me.
they
There's a
don't like me. There's something wrong with my, there's something on my note. Like it's all, yeah, right. Like it's all about me, or they're mean, or they're crabby.
right.
And then you never see that person again. But your day now has this negative
Connotations.
energy. Yeah, this negative energy in it. When you could say, oh, that person had a frown.
Right.
That had nothing to do with me, right? Like
Maybe they have a challenge,
right,
and it has nothing to do with me.
and they were thinking about it, and we are always making up interpretations about our days, our lives, and we can choose to actually make up ones that feel good to us. We can just choose to do that. It's a crazy powerful tool.
Okay. Thank you so much for sharing that with us, Annie.
You're welcome.
And in the last few seconds that we have, can
Yeah.
you please share with us how people can get in contact with you if they want to get coaching from you and they want help moving forward and getting unstuck?
Yeah, and I would love to talk to anyone. So my website is AFITZ Coaching, so AFITZ coaching.com. And they could email me at Annie@afitzcoaching.com. Or there's a link on my website to connect with me, and I would love to hear from anyone.
Thank you so much. And I'd love to know if you would be so kind as to join us again, because our time is far spent and we really didn't get to talk much.
I just love talking to you, Arlene. Anytime.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Annie. Thank you for spending the time with us today. I would like to thank those of you who worked on the show today, William, Gary, Sundance Clay, and all of you, our listeners, for joining us today. We wish you the best life possible. We want you to move forward, get unstuck, and claim the best life that you are here to live. Hopefully, we'll see you again next week at 6:30 on the same station, or you can join us after the show at Ask Arlene Show online on either Facebook or Instagram, and we can continue the conversation there. Hopefully, we'll see you also in our group at bit.ly/A for ask and A for Arlene. Bye. See you next week. Bye.
Bye.